Greetings, my name is Sumitiper and welcome to Acervo Season 3 Episode 5 City in the Clouds. Man has ventured to some places no other beings have been. Humans are creative, resilient and persistent little creatures. Land settled, oceans navigated, and space explored. The thirst for discovering the unknowns can never truly be quenched and people have sacrificed themselves in the name of discovery since the beginning of history. A young man residing in a big bustling city often dreamt of knowing the sky and making it his home. There would be sky ships in which people worked and others to live. There would be no need for street cleaners as the trash could be incinerated. Water can be collected directly from the clouds. Motor vehicles would not be needed as sky bikes will serve the population. Peace and quiet would prevail. As ambitious as the man's plan was, he was determined to see it through. He considered and studied all technological creations he could, woke up and thought, went to work and thought, and even while working could not stop imagining the wonderful city in the clouds. In his free time his head was buried in books about ships, technology, and numerous other subjects. He visited all museums, all expositions, fairs, and conventions. He saw all professionals of different areas and still remained thirsting for more. Withdrawn from society, his personality shifted, easily distracted, always in a hurry, and incredibly skittish. The people around me couldn't help themselves but notice the difference. Holding thoughts of a mania for an unnamed project, he thought others saw him as crazy, but in reality they were really just worried for his well-being. Though he did not care, his characteristic stubbornness remaining unchanged. They could never understand his vision until it took physical form. As time progressed, everything changed other than his mania. His house was carpeted with paper, fountain pens were scattered all over, and ink was bought in bulk. Wooden sculptures of marvelous, delicately crafted skyships would have gone for sale at exorbitant prices, but the man never sold them. Materials and manpower was needed, as the panning concluded, and ever the lone worker, the solitary man needed to break out of his shell to ask for help. Firstly, he searched for other people to examine his designs. Professors and scholars praised the work to no end, baffled by it being all done by a single person. Second, he searched for mechanics and people who would take part in the building. A group of dedicated artisans, enthusiasts, and hobbyists formed a company with the intent of bringing the project out of the paper and into this world. However, the hardest step so far was finding investments. Even if all the people who agreed to help in the work pitched in half of their yearly earnings, it would not suffice a third of the conservative estimate for the cost, not even counting fuel. The part that frustrated the man the most was the constant wariness and doubt that countless investors presented. All along the journey, people had been skeptical, but none were as critical and scathing as the investors, a hard crowd to please, though through hard enough work and dedication, a single unimaginably wealthy lord agreed to finance the project under the condition of the city bearing his name. The man was disgruntled and annoyed by the proposal, but knowing that there would be no one else willing to finance the project, he accepted the condition. Progress was slow at first, but as people grew more acquainted with the process, things began to rapidly speed up. Forgers and metalworkers refined metal and created chains. People who worked in textiles made all forms of cloth. Planners and scientists attempted to solve fuel and remaining problems. The man was proud of the participation of other people in his vision. In continuing, more and more attention was gathered. New investors helped by financing specific parts. Foreign diplomats and elites marveled and promised to supply all material needed. Even the country's premier and monarch made statements praising the engineering. Despite some hiccups, the project ran smoothly. Time flew by and crowds of people sat anxiously awaiting the reveal of the city in the sky. Test flights were successful. Fuel was no longer a problem. Special clothing was created to assist in living through the hard weather conditions of the atmosphere. The spark still burned brightly inside the man, and as time moved, a day was set for the inauguration. The, now older, man was nervous and almost felt his heart pounding out of his chest. But he was relieved as the work was finished and the city was beautiful. His vision solidified, the man spent his remaining years expanding and planning more skyships. What started as a figment of his imagination was no longer just his plans bound to a piece of paper. It was the world's contribution and the largest collaborative project the Earth had ever seen. I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Sumitiper, and thank you so much for watching.